Record.
Hey y'all, we're in week 9. I know last week we all admitted that we fell off of the book, which is okay. I did get a chance to catch up on week 8 and 9, and it was really, really good. And I also think the timing that I ended up reading it ended up being really, really good as well. So let me grab my book to review it. Oh, I think I got bit by a mosquito just now. Hey y'all, so happy to see y'all. Ariel, Lucy, Kyra.
Hi.
Hey. And Blue is here, and Grishby is here on Kyra's line. I just need a little lip gloss, that's all. But yeah, um, week 8 was so good. So I listened to week 8 in its entirety yesterday while I was getting ready for I listened to week 8 yesterday while I was getting ready for oh look, there's my other account. While I was getting ready for
Recording in progress.
okay. Anyway, I was listening to week 8 while I was getting ready to do a photo shoot with Kyra yesterday. And basically, I had so much resistance towards just doing a photo shoot. And as I'm listening to it, I'm basically having Julia just basically lists all of the reasons why we may have resistance. And for me, I think mine is fear of success. I don't know why uh I fear success. Um but something that I noticed that I do is I will just I'll procrastinate. I will just do any and everything to be chronically underprepared. And yeah, I don't know why I do that. Sorry, I'm trying to fix the Zoom. So yeah, let's see. Okay, it's still recording. But yeah, I just noticed I did that yesterday. And so I picked out the outfit that I was gonna wear at the last minute. I bring the outfit over to Kyra's house. The outfit doesn't work. And then I'm just like low key feeling like, yes, the outfit doesn't work. I don't have to show up. Um, but we still ended up shooting because we figured out a way to go around it. And then also I was dealing with some skin issues. So I didn't really get to fully wear the outfit that I wanted to wear. And so I found a way around that too. And I feel like that's what week 8 is about. Like week 8 is about just knowing what all of your obstacles are and deciding, how bad you want it and what ways that you are going to work with them. Um Something that came up for me during the photo shoot as well, some guy on Instagram was talking about how to reach the flow state, and he was basically talking about just no longer being in resistance. So basically once you decide to be the thing, you start making choices and taking actions that move you towards that thing. So if I say that I'm a model, then I'm going to be making steps towards doing photo shoots. And he says that you basically get out of the flow state by just basically doing things against what you said that you are. So um basically this is just a form of uh sabotage, which for me is fear of success. And I believe that Julia says different things that some people for, with mine being fear of success, I think some people's may be other things like fear of responsibility, um fear of being seen. And I could be talking about week 9 too at the same time, but I do feel like this was covered in week 8. So, just to review, it says week 8 tackles another major creative block, time. You will explore the ways in which you have used your perception of time to preclude taking risks. You will identify immediate and practical changes you can make in your current life. You will excavate the early conditioning that may have encouraged you to settle far less than you desire creatively. So before we go in, would anybody like to share what any accomplishments that they've had? I'm gonna switch computers.
Were you about to? Yeah, I'll share. Accomplishment that I have. I took myself on a artist date to. This is the 16th time that I bit my tongue today. Annoying. I took myself on an artist date to an art show in California this past weekend. Uh, and there was a lot of resistance around like booking the ticket. So I was happy that I moved forward and did it. And it was when I chose not to expect anything from it. I was like, because I genuinely wanted to go to see the art. I like museums or like galleries, but like I really be invested into like the reason why people create art. So I was able to like meet this person in real time, like, in the flesh. And I just really liked her story. And like I wasn't able to make it to her show here in Texas. So she invited me to her next show. It just so happened to be in Los Angeles. So I ended up doing that. So how all that my artist day, how it ties into recovering a sense of strength and then also moving into recovering a sense of compassion is just like it for me, both of them can exist in the same space because like strength just sounds such a stoic word. Like you just need to kind of have on like 19 pounds of armor with like a bulletproof vest. So and then compassion is the complete opposite. It's more like pillowy and soft and flowy and billowy and all the things. So it was just a nice reminder that like strength is soft, like just doing things like and not thinking too hard about it that also allows you to like move forward. So I don't know what the resistance was about, like being hesitant to like book the ticket and make the trip, but I'm happy I did because it ended up really exceeding like any expectation that I didn't set any expectations, but my mind was really blown from this trip. That was my third time ever going out to the West Coast, and this time was particularly just the best experience that I've just had in a long time. So I was happy I did that. And now I love that we're moving into week 9, which is about compassion because after strength, after you do the hard work, even how Tiana was mentioning, like, oh, I didn't really want to do the shoot, but like she mustered up the energy to make it happen. And then afterward, you really can just bask in that compassion. So I kind of share that same sentiment with this. Like, like moving through resistance and then actually getting the thing done. And then you really can just rest and relax and into like the completion of it. So that's my share.
That's so good. Thank you. Like one thing that so I read this one this book about getting your creative routine together. I've had this book for a long time. Like I've had it since like 2011, 2012. And this was before social media was as distracting as it is now, but it basically talks about how email and text messages are just so distracting to the creative process. But I read like when I opened the first page of the book, it said something about um, Woody Allen and basically just to show up. And I'm just gonna pull it up on my phone, on my Kindle. Okay. So it's on my Kindle. Let me see if I can show y'all the title of the book. Okay. Manage your day-to-day routine, build your focus, find your focus to sharpen your creative mind. I've had this book on my phone for so long and I haven't finished it yet, but it opens up with Woody Allen once said that 80% of success is showing up. Having written and directed 50 films in almost as Having written and directed 50 films in almost as many years, Allen clearly knows something about accomplishment. How, when, and where you show up is the single most important factor in executing your ideas. Oh, excuse me. And so I read that. I know, I know. This, and again, this book is old. This is like 2011 before all that stuff came out.
About him marrying his stepdaughter.
Yeah, this book is old. This book was way before all of that. This is before the Me Too movement. But yeah, like so as I was like headed to the photo shoot or just like as I was at home making excuses not to go to the photo shoot, I was like, just show up. Just show up. Just show up. And I feel like that's what you did too, Grishby, is like, look, just show up. Like, because it's like once you do that, all types of stuff happens, like all types of alignment, all types of synchronicity. And then after you show up and then you accomplish the thing, you get to enjoy, like you get energized from the thing that you did. And so it's just like if you're trying to muster up the energy to do something, it's best to just do the thing and then realize that's where you get your energy from. Because I felt myself just talking myself out of it in so many ways. Like, oh, I have to go to work tomorrow. Oh, I'm having a skin breakout. Oh, I don't want to drive. Just all these things. But now that I've done it, I have these photos and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I love this." And like future me is going to be so happy for or I rather future me is so happy that I took the steps. So, yeah, I'm so glad that you showed up, Grishby. Yeah, super cool artist date, and I'm gonna mute for Ariel.
I just want to make a comment on what you were just talking about because it just reminds me, I'm sure if you had like any hobbies growing up that was actually structured. So for me, I danced and I just remember like obviously no matter you go like because you're signed up, it wasn't like an option to at least for I was very it was like very strict. So you just go and I just remember obviously like how you felt going, like it never really affected how you felt in class, really. You know what I mean? It's just like once you're there, and then you get whatever you're supposed to. And I feel also like with singing, it's been interesting to like I guess with our relationship with our creativity to notice also how I'm feeling and how that makes like what the relationship is with my voice and how maybe my voice sounds different or like if I'm feeling more emotional versus something else or more inward and then how that's like also it both like your moving energy and then also deepening relationship with yourself, you know? Um, so I love this conversation because yeah, it reminds me of also like I think we talked about blue hibiscus, like the balancing of the masculine and feminine within ourselves of like, okay, actually having structure and committing to it then allows like the more creative energy, if you see creativity as more feminine energy to like have space there.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for the reminder of the balancing of the masculine and feminine, because that's exactly what it is. And yeah, it's really like enlisting your masculine energy to muster up the courage, the drive, and the direction to pick yourself up. Because I definitely feel like I was in my feminine energy too, especially like being on the tail end of my period and stuff like that. There was just like so many excuses. There were just so many excuses available and yeah, yeah. So I love that picture as well of the balance of masculine and feminine, just helping to move you forward and helping you to carry on with that. So shout out to Blue Hibiscus. Does anybody else want to share what they did? Any artist dates, synchronicities, and stuff?
I can go ahead and share a little bit. Um so this last week, I definitely have been doing like a lot of shadow work on just like all the difficulties that's been coming up for me. Yeah, um I was kind of like going into like NEM stuff, but I think Ariel, like you shared something about dorsal shutdown or something like that. That's been so helpful for me because I realized like I think that's kind of what's been happening with me. Like I think I shared like last week, I kind of dropped the ball on the artist way. And then I realized like, oh, I'm like super emotionally like overwhelmed. I'm like shutting down. And when I shut down, I like avoid. So I've been looking into like how do you start to move like from dorsal shutdown. Because I think my usual way is to like kind of like shame or like bully myself or like try and motivate myself like out of it into something else. And I was talking a lot about like doing really small things to like move you out of it. So I had a really nice day today of like I sat and did some like energy work on this like shutdown part and I've like enlisted my like angels and guides to come in and like help with some movement and I found myself today like getting back into some writing. I like went on my treadmill for a little bit. And I've like been organizing my like garage. So I have like a TV in there so I can like binge watch. I'm watching Desi Bling right now, or Desi Bling. I don't know if you guys on Netflix. It's really good. Um, it's very like it's like the Housewives of Rich India type vibe. I just really love it. I love watching like incredibly like insanely rich people, insanely wealthy people just like live their lives. It's just really fun for me. And I'm like running on my little running machine um and watching this show and like organizing this room and it felt really good because it's like I'm not shaming myself to like okay now you have to like run on the machine and like do all the things Um, it's yeah, and then I found afterwards I was like, oh, like I feel kind of inspired to like do some more writing. And then my artist date this week was on, I think it was on Saturday. I ended up making some new scents. So Tiana, I've made a thing for you. Like I just need to label the stuff and send it out. But I think last week when I was like at rock bottom, I really felt very grateful for Tiana for like putting this space together and showing up. Like even though it's like ugh, it can be difficult and there could be so many excuses and so much resistance, like it just I don't know. Yeah, I really appreciated it. So I was like, I'm gonna make her some cool like perfume type thing or like an oil. It's like a spiritual oil. And I went and looked at her birth chart and then made like a scent based on like what would kind of activate like the juiciness in her chart. I was like, oh, this is so it. Like, I love this. It just made me feel so good. I was like, oh my God, I needed this so much. Like, I just needed to like sit down and like make some perfume and because I love like smells and stuff. And there's just been, yeah, it just felt really good, especially like on the back end of doing like some really deep shadow work. I was like, oh, this just smells so good. And this just felt really nice. And I was like, oh, like I really want to do this more. Like I want to do this for other people. I want to like look at their birth charts and like get their associated scents and like it's just oh, I'm so excited for you to smell it. I hope you like it because that would be awkward. But yeah, yeah, so it's been quite emotional. It's been an emotional week, but I feel like this is really good and a really interesting like thing came in. So I don't know if you guys have like kind of had this same feeling of like, oh, you're nearly done. Like you're nearly done with the artist way. Like, oh, you're nearly done. And I've been working on this idea of like, what if I just keep doing it? Like even after the 12 weeks, like what if I like allow space for me to keep doing it? And it was really interesting because I noticed something kind of ease up and like open up um around this idea of like just even just keeping up with like the artist pages the morning pages and the artist dates and just like actually no like it doesn't end at this 12 weeks like I can keep having it and I'm sure there's some tricky inner child inner teen stuff there of like I don't know like really limiting, like putting limits on how much like I'll take care of myself, how much attention I'll give myself. Um, so and it almost like kind of like comes to like test. It reminds me of etheric gardening. I feel like I haven't done etheric gardening like officially, but my energy work stuff I did before NEMS was very like in that realm, which is why I love the community of NEMS of like going in, kind of like looking at my energy, looking at my I did a lot of like root chakra clearing today, which is really interesting. Um, I guess too, like you were saying, Tiana, about being afraid of visibility. I ended up kind of like feeling out this piece of like being afraid of being mediocre. Like I'm building up this fantasy in my head that, this thing I'm gonna do is like so epic. So epic. And like kind of dreaming myself to be this like exalted figure that actually I can't live up to at all. Um and I did a writing piece about it actually, and maybe I'll put it in the group chat, but it was basically I was kind of realizing that like, I'm just about okay being a beginner, but like there's a really like big discomfort I have at like being mediocre and like having that be visible, on my way to maybe like growing and like getting better at something. Like there's the awkward phase of maybe being ordinary, mediocre, unpolished, uncleanliness is like coming up a lot for me recently. So I think I need crab apple. But what am I trying to say? Yeah, I kind of realized that it feels like, I'm gonna like quote myself so I can like get my words out. It kind of feels like they're like it's like mediocrity doesn't really have like the right to exist. And it's basically, how did I write it? It's like only exceptional artists get to thrive, and only like, exceptional, like having to be brilliant, exceptional, or incredibly talented. And if you're not exceptional, like you should give up. Um, and kind of like being exceptional is what earns you the right to create. And when I get like evidence of my own mediocrity, like it makes me think I shouldn't even try. And I know that at the same time I'm feel like, and I'm like so looking forward to compassion because I'm like like I feel like that's like the antidote to this thing. Um because it's like I know that every exceptional artist, writer, musician, healer have spent time being mediocre. And just kind of I think I'm like validating to myself that like, oh, like this is a struggle. Like this is a stage that I have to kind of survive through. And it's difficult, and there's a lot of energy being trapped up in it. Um and what else? I think there's another gem in there somewhere, but um yeah, I think it's yeah, I think it's like being seen as like mediocre, or like, oh, I'm not, it's really not gonna hit my little Pisces fantasy that like I have about the thing I want to do. Um, so yeah, and like I think I've been working through as well, like it's like maybe feeling um like I think other people are judging me, but it's really just like me judging. It's really just me judging me. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to week 9. Um, I think I'm gonna make a scent for myself that's specifically about like being okay being mediocre, and like not in like I'm not trying to dishearten myself or like discredit myself or go into like devaluation, but I think there's something really beautiful about accepting that, or like being ordinary, being okay, being mediocre, being like middle ground. Like it feels like it really opens up a space for me to like breathe and actually like be myself. And it almost feels ironic that from that place, that's kind of where maybe your own brilliance might kind of come from, if you kind of stop the I don't know. It makes me think that like sometimes I'm like trying to perform greatness, and like actually if you just chill out, like it's a lot more chill. I don't know. But that's my show, so thank you.
Can I respond to that, Tiana?
Yeah,
And then
definitely.
you
And then
can
I'm gonna
respond.
respond to Grishby. Grishby, what WTF?
Um, But I'll just say that, and then also maybe after you respond, whatever, I'm ready to share also because I resonate with some of the stuff. But what I just wanted to say is, I don't remember if I said this recently, and I get all my conversations confused. But I know that Sonia in her community recently was saying how she that like performance is relatively new for singing, and like our ancestors who live with the land, and not even just them, but I think a lot of ancestors in different cultures like had, singing as grief ceremonies and like ceremonial and all of these things. And I really like to look at, people who live with the land and see like creativity is just, I mean, it's like what they say is that if we weren't in like industrialization, we would have a lot more free time. That's actually more normal. And so also if you look at like villagers, a lot of the time they're doing like everybody's doing creative things. They're like sewing, like embroidery or like, and it's not really about like, oh, this person is like they're really good. And I feel like that's so in our culture. It's like a really big cultural conditioning. So yeah, I know for me I have to like clear a lot of that cultural conditioning because also you might be able to feel it, especially as like a psychic from other people that they're like, oh, if you're not like the best, like your voice doesn't sound like an angel, just don't even sing. I mean, like there is a lot of that energy and a lot of judgy, and maybe they're like as Julia would say, shadow artists, but that is part of our culture. And so I just wanted to say that. And it is like, I guess it is like embodying a new energy around it by breaking that. Like you're embodying, I feel that way like all the time. Anytime I share like a video singing on Instagram, I'm like, I'm not trying to fit into that mold, It's just like I want to share because I want to share, but I'm not sharing because I'm like, oh, I'm so polished, I sound. But anybody who has that mindset, I could see them judging me, but at the same time, I don't really care. So, but it's like an ongoing thing. So, anyways, I'm gonna end that for the response.
Yes, and to add on to that, definitely I feel like that is the Capricorn wanting to just already like the Capricorn energy already wanting to be on top because I can definitely relate to that. Um, but one thing that I always come to remember is your most amateur work is going to be the work that you look back on and you're gonna wish that you had that newness, like that novice to it. Like as you get better and better at the thing, as you get better equipment, as you get better tools and stuff like that, like nothing will ever be as raw and as um fresh and unique as the thing that you were doing when you first got started. It just has like this energy signature that's just so hard that cannot be replicated, basically. Um, and it has like a charm to it too. Um, I definitely think that also surrounding yourself with people who can recognize how great it is even in its like beginning and baby stages helps a lot. And I feel like those people help me when I am making songs. Like if I like when I have a new song, I gotta show the people who are into music and know music in order for them to hear it and recognize it. But if I show somebody who listens to overly polished music or can't or doesn't even have an ear for like new talent or anything, I'm gonna feel gross and discouraged and even embarrassed and stuff. Um but yeah, it's really about uh cultivating the journey and allowing all of your experiences to be like a mosaic that um puts it all together. So yeah, um thank you for sharing that. That's such a vulnerable share. And I just dropped two videos in the group chat. Um one of them is about the music industry. The first one he talks about how being an artist in the 1960s was just like make a song, drop the album, go on tour, people love it. But now in 2026, you basically have to be an entrepreneur um, to put out music. So watch that when y'all get the chance. And then the second one I put out, I mean, the second video I posted was the cost of never doing the thing. And I wish I would have posted it before we started the call, but I feel like that's really relevant to what I was saying. I feel like it's relevant to what you were saying just now, Lucy. So maybe I can screen share and we can watch it later. I'm gonna mute for Crispy.
There to Lucy's point, there is a I don't remember, but I think it's quite normal to feel how Lucy was feeling. I know I relate to that a lot because when you're trying to get something out, it's always gonna like not look how you want it to look. But what I adopted was like this kid mindset. You know, I don't know if you have like a smaller brother or sibling, or if you just remember when you were a kid, but like my little niece and nephew, they love making drawings and then running up to me and giving them to me. They be so ugly. They be so ugly, but they be so proud. They be so proud. And I just be like, oh, this is so great. And Landon, my little nephew, he's getting ready to be 8 years old. So I always kept the ones when he first started. Like he really knows how to draw now. So I'm just keeping these so he can like really see his progression. So that relates back to I don't remember the chapter in the Creative Act, which is our code book that we're doing. But he literally says in the book, he said, you're not gonna like the first version. He said, you're probably not even gonna like the seventh or eighth version. He said, but it's not necessarily about liking it. He said it's about just the repetition of going through the motion of completing it. He was like, so if you don't get caught up into the aftermath, the vision that you have in your brain, and more so just focus on the motion through it, the movement through it. He said, that's where the power is stored, and that's where the juice is at. It's in the completion, and maybe it's in completion. I don't know, but that's where the sauce is at. Versus like, oh, this isn't good X, Y, and Z. Because he also, and then just to put a little garnish on that, he also mentions how Tiana just said, you show it to your correct people, like the unfinished or the unpolished part, like that's just something that goes on your refrigerator or it just kind of stays in your portfolio and things like that until you get to the version that I feel confident enough to share this publicly and things like that. So that is what I had wanted to share. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of like traction and grit in terms of like that concept. Because I know that can just be so watery and tumultuous when you're thinking about it, trying to move through that space. So I 100% get that. And I'm in that process right now as I'm shooting my portfolio because I'm interested in like really taking modeling to the next step. So from my first comp card, the Polaroids that I did to the ones that I'm doing lately, the progress is there. However, what I realized, the insecurity, the trying, the resistance, the not necessarily wanting to do it, that has not faded. But the importance of showing up, that's become more prominent. So that's my share.
Oh my gosh, yes. And I think it may be chapter 8 or chapter 9 where Julia says, she's like, artists think that, or people think that discipline is having, like, they think it's all about discipline or whatever. She's like, discipline is just a bunch of mumbo jumbo, and that is really giving, it's really, oh, what did she say? She was basically saying like discipline in your inner child basically just has fun with discipline because it's more like, oh, I get to sit at my desk. Oh, I set up my paintbrushes and stuff like that. But really discipline is not the thing. Um, but basically what you say, Grishby, like just continuing to show up is the thing. Totally forgot what I was gonna say, but yeah. All right, I'm gonna mute for Ariel.
Hello, I've been loving this conversation. I love the hyping each other up. Um, but yeah, I relate a lot like to different themes that Lucy was bringing up. That's why I was like, oh, I feel ready to share. But one of the things I think it's like I feel the artist way really working on me, and one of the things is as a recovering perfectionist is then that also I've been going really deep into like abandonment wounds and basically as a child like mirroring my environment of who people wanted me to be. and then how that's like perfectionism, also much so many layers. It's been a lot. But what I see is like, okay, I see how, I want to embody I feel that like it feels natural. It doesn't feel like I'm trying, it feels like I can naturally feel the energy in me changing, where I'm like feeling more free to express myself and so on. But I also see how vulnerable that is, because even, I mean, with art, it's like inherently vulnerable because no matter what you do, like there's gonna be people who hate it and think it's bad. You know what I mean? Because everybody has different things that they like. That's just how it is. It's like the most famous artist in the world, they're gonna have like a good chunk of people that really hate their music for whatever reason, because that's what it's like a resonance, and not everybody resonates with it. And so that's kind of part of it. And I feel like that like inner child perfectionist in me, that's just like, I'm gonna mirror my environment and be exactly who you want me to be. Like, that's a hard, it's a hard new step, I think. And so I see that like coming up. It's just like, wow, it's so vulnerable. And I think also this chapter was really making me think, because, it's like in NEMS, for example, we talk about how like people's feedback, how people's energy can get into our field. There's something in our field that it's Velcroing, and what she talks about is like people who are famous or really good artists or whatever, like how they're persistent and just like keep going despite the feedback. But it's like if I, for example, have had narratives in my mind of like, I'm not a real like artist, whatever. So then when you get that feedback, you're like, look, my agent who's not booking me anything is confirming that fear that I have that like I'm really not an artist or I'm not valuable or whatever it is. So I feel like it's just like, I don't know, it's like illuminating this whole other layer to me of, I guess, parts within myself, but also parts of like people who have made it, things they've overcome, of just like people literally being like, this is your art, yeah, whatever. And then the person being really like not being sensitive to the feedback at all and being like, I'm gonna still do it because I love it or whatever reason. And I always like to think of the artists who are like really famous who, died with no one liking their art. And then like Van Gogh. And then now that he's like one of the most famous artists in the world. So it's just like also you could be ahead of your time. And there's just so many layers to it, and but I think that like the part of art that feels like exciting to me is the part that it is free. It's not about like whether people like it or not. It's really about like your own expression, that you like it, that you like the process of it, all of that. And that's really what it is. And it's like, yeah, people might like this, people not. And like that, whether people like it or not is so subjective too. I mean, like look at modern art. Like when you go to modern art museums, I'm like, what is this like ugly, like ocean net looking thing? So, anyways, that's I'll say. And then as far as my updates, oh, also with like putting it, what you all were saying about like putting stuff out there. I think one thing that I really need to work on is I think I put things, it's almost like a reverse self-protection mechanism. Like I put things out there without trying that much because I'm like, yeah, it's not that serious, instead of being like working more on something and then taking it more seriously and then waiting to put it out there. I just kind of like do it fast. So that's like the side of it that I'm working on. I also want to share my synchronicity because I've been really on a money, like doing money energy work and stuff, and also really it being aligned to like I want to be able to feel security and have time for my creativity and all of that. But it's really funny because I've been really on it, like doing it, and I've been like, I don't know how it's all gonna happen. And then I went to this like little corner store here and I checked out, and this little kid in front of me, like his card wasn't work. He was like using his parents' card and he was like buying these. And but it wasn't working, so he left it and he was gonna come back. And then the woman apparently put these in my bag. So I came home. I didn't even see until I came home. She didn't charge me for them, but these like gold coins chocolates were in my bag, and I'm like, it just feels like such a like funny synchronicity. So I just have to say that it was really funny to me. And yeah, this week was also very intense for me. I was really exhausted. I got to Guadalajara. I literally, when I got here, I feel like I'm the kind of person who can be like very intense and like go, go, go all the time. And then when I'm on vacation or like have time off, I can completely crash out and just be like, don't expect to hear from me. Like I'm gonna just be like I'm just gonna disappear and not do one thing. And so I feel like I felt that way when I got here. It was really intense. So anyways, but I'm excited. I feel like my energy is starting to grow again. So I'm excited for to like do some exploring. I think maybe tomorrow I'll go to a museum and maybe do multiple artist dates this week to make up for my lost ones. And I also have been doing a lot of processing in my morning pages, and I feel like I don't know if it's this like week before the spring equinox or something, but not spring, summer solstice. Summer solstice, that's like last clearing happening, but I've been really feeling that of just like there's so much clearing, there's so much being processed. It's just a lot. So yeah. And I also started the person who's lives here only had a ukulele. So I was also kind of playing around with the ukulele. I also realized this week I discovered that I really do like cooking as like a creative act because also no matter how much money you have, it's like you're buying food. So you might just like I saw that there's like a tamarind, I don't what do you call it? Tamarind in English? In Spanish, tamarindo. And like they have like agua de tamarindo in Mexico. And I kept seeing at the stores and today I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to make it, you know? And it was like $1, you know? So I was like, fun, you know? So I realized I really do like cooking as a little like creative exercise of playing with things and not, new things. And it's not really much more than what you normally would be spending or the same amount. And I also was thinking about going to a store to like get not crochet, embroidery materials. I really want to try embroidery. So yay.
Thank you, Ariel. I'm gonna mute for Blue.
Hey y'all. Sorry, it's always difficult because I'm always driving from work as I'm checking in. But thank you for all the shares. I relate incredibly to all of you, and it's been very emotional for me, like because I'm overcoming some massive blocks, and at the same time, like stabilizing strength with my therapist, and like I finally have a court date to finalize my divorce, which has been a 2.5 year process. Um, So it's been a lot of personal things, and then this current recent breakup has really shooketh me. And again, being here in LA and the ego of it all, and realizing the ego of me, of like the pendulum swing of where I can overdo or I'm like crying on the floor. And it's I'm looking for I'm balancing it out, but the resistance of just being myself and being fully seen and knowing that I'm safe to be seen has been quite an honest breakthrough for me, because I've released the performance, and the performance saved my life for a very long time. So it's very deep. So like slowing down is such a sacred act, and but yet I live in a busy, busy, crazy city. Um, and it's yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to chime in. And I hold deep space every single day for people, which is beautiful, but it's quite intense, I think. And I think I'm realizing that I just need to have more play. I've been resistant to, like, I tried to have an outing this weekend, but everything got canceled, and I chose to kind of stay home because there's like FIFA and concerts, and it was just like the LA traffic was just bonkers. So I chose to stay home, and I actually went to an event, but I went too early, and then I left early. I'm like, I'm just finding myself again in a new way, which is beautiful. And I'm grateful to just be honest and open and willing to surrender yet again to my own self. And exactly, actually, it's my my true self. Like I relate to Ariel so much. Everything you say, Ariel, I'm like, oh my God, we're such cosmic sisters. Like, oh my God, Aquarius moon and even like just healing my nervous system and being like, babe, like the emergency is over, and you know there's just grief that comes with this transformation and comes with honesty and releasing past selves and what's happening in the universe. Like they found 90 girls underground in New York. Like that shit affects me, you know, and I'm just like, and knowing like my mother's a survivor of that, and because of that she's emotionally unavailable for me, and I've chosen emotionally unavailable people because of that, you know, and walking through it not as a victim, but having it, how do I transform this into a testimony and honestly share it and move on and move past it and move through it and past it. Y'all, it's just been quite the journey. And I'm grateful because I'm singing at Agape. I know a lot of y'all talk about Agape East. There's Agape here and then there's Agape East. So I'm grateful I'm finally worshiping my higher power and just singing without the ego. And then I was also met with some stuff because there's always a dude that just wants to just be inappropriate. And it's like, no, stand, know that you're safe. It doesn't matter. This balance of the masculine and feminine and rising up into the truth of who I am as an artist and the creative expression has everything to do with my inner child, because that's who does create. So thank you all for inspiring me, because I'm gonna go home and make some bracelets, because I've been putting off my artist dates and I've had studio sessions, but it's been work for me for so long that I'm trying to have fun with it again. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I just wanted to be honest and transparent because your girl's going through it, but I know it's a breakthrough and it's a renewal, but like, holy moly, Coley. All right, that's it.
Well, thank you, Blue, for allowing us to witness you in all that. And um, yeah, and I'm putting up roses. When I love the term putting up roses because it also feels like an offering. So like I'm putting up roses to you, putting up roses to your mother, the children that they found in New York and stuff like that. Just all the roses for them. Um, but thank you so much for sharing that. And yeah, I witness you, and every time that you share, um it's always just it's always just so like how you said cosmic sister to Ariel. I just feel like everything that we share with each other is just so helpful. And I feel like I'm so glad that we have this group because I feel like y'all get it. Like I feel like I can say it now because people who fell off aren't watching it or whatever, even though it's recorded. But yeah, I'm just so glad that y'all stuck around because I feel like you guys get it. And every time you speak Blue, I'm like, oh, yes, she gets it. So thank you so much. Um, Ariel dropped a book in the chat. Called the Audacity Experiment, and I'm very interested in that. And I believe that chapter 8 is the chapter where the artist way talks about audacity. It could be chapter 9, but yeah, I'm definitely interested in that. Um, I wanted to talk about how week 8 talks about intellectualism versus artistry because I do feel like as highly sensitives and healers, like I feel like we fall into that in a type of way where we kind of rationalize ourselves out of a creative flow because we are trying to like be in our heads too much. So this starts on page 131 for week 8. And she tells the story of, let me read over it real quick. She tells a story of her clients that were in academia. Okay, so it's actually page 132. She says in the last paragraph, artists and intellectuals are not the same animal. As a younger artist, this was very confusing to me. I myself have considerable critical gifts and have, in fact, won national awards for practicing them. It was to my own rue that I discovered that these same skills were misapplied when focused on embryonic artistic endeavors, mine or others. Younger artists are seedlings. Their early work resembles thicket and underbrush, even weeds. The halls of academia, with their preference for lofty intellectual theorems, do little to support the life of the forest floor. As a teacher, it's been my sad experience that many talented creatives were daunted early and unfairly by their inability to conform to a norm that was not their own. It would be my hope that the academics who read this book and apply it would do so with an altered appreciation for the authenticity of growth for the sake of growth. In other words, as taller trees, let us not allow our darker critical powers unfettered play upon the seedlings artists in our midst. Without specific tools and sufficient ego strengths, many gifted artists languish for years in the wake of such blows. Shamed at their supposed lack of talent, shamed by their grandiose dreams, the young artists may channel their gifts into commercial endeavors and then forget their dreams of doing more groundbreaking, risky work. They may work as editors instead of writers, film editors instead of film directors, commercial artists instead of fine artists, and get stuck within shouting distance of their dreams. When she said getting stuck within shouting distance of your dreams, that was hold on a second, y'all. All right. Often audacity. Yep, I found it. I found it. It says often audacity, not authentic talent, confers fame on an artist. The lack of audacity, pinched out by critical abuse or malnourished through neglect, may cripple many artists far superior than those we publicly acclaim. In order to recover our sense of hope and the courage to create, we must acknowledge and mourn the scars that are blocking us. This process may seem both painstakingly petty, but it is a necessary rite of passage. Just as a teenager must gain autonomy from an overbearing parent, so too an artist must gain autonomy from malignant artistic mentors. Um, so I didn't necessarily want to talk about malignant artistic mentors, but I did want to talk about just intellectualism and how we can use intellectualism to talk ourselves out of being artists. Like, I feel like, you know, especially in the information age, so in the age of social media, there's just this big risk of posting something and somebody just like instantly shitting on, what you release, what you post and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, basically what Julia's saying, she's like, don't let that stop you. And she talks about audacity here, and so we see really bad talent on social media as well. Like uh I was showing Kyra this one girl who was rapping. She literally said Peter Piper picked a pepper. Peter Piper picked Peter Piper picked a pepper, like, and shot a music video and everything for it. And like she's like viral or whatever because of it. But the difference between somebody like me and somebody like her is that like she actually had the audacity. And I just feel like we live in an audacity universe, like more than ever, we're faced with failure or success based off of your own audacity. Um, so yeah, and I wonder, Ariel, is that book, is it along those lines? Like, is it about that or no?
I probably so he kind of set it up where you can like read whatever chapter you want. And he also goes like sets it up by season. So he's like, see what season you're in, and then you can go to that chapter. So, anyways, I just started it, so I can't say about all of it. Like I was at the grief section, and then I was at one where he's talking about the future self healing you. But there's just a lot. But I'm sure there's going to be also stuff about that. I mean, he also mentioned about yeah, I think it was in yeah, how when he first started doing videos, because I actually found him kind of early on. Like now he has like 1 million followers with like tarot forecasts or of like with each sign. But I found him like 5 years ago, and at that time he was like big, but not that big, not like now. And but it was funny because at that time he was only famous. I mean, he had only started like it wasn't that long ago that he started out. And so I looked back at his YouTube because I always was like helpful for me to see, people's growth, to just like not be so hard on yourself and just see. And so his early YouTube videos are so bad. It's so funny. He looks so different too. And he says that too, how like when he was first doing it, he felt so cringe and that people were like that people were like probably judging him and that it didn't look that great and whatever. And he's like, but he just felt the calling and he kept doing. He's like, and look at me now. Now, now I have I'm like make multiple, my business brings in like multiple millions of dollars a year and blah, blah, blah. So he just like followed that. So he talked about it there, but there's a lot of the book. So I don't know.
I want to raise my hand, but I just can't find it. So I'm like, let me just punch in. I was gonna write it, but I'm like, let me say it. Which Ariel is saying reminds me of what you were saying about Dawn's glow, and then what Ariel was saying about how singing, like how one might feel about their singing could be affecting how their voice sounds. And now how he looks glowed up, but like how Don feels, how you're seeing the glow on him. And it's because of where he's at. It's just like all of that just connected really just then. Cause I'm like, oh, okay. That's it, that's what's happening. That's literally what's happening. It's the glow from just I guess being in alignment, I guess. Oh, or it could be, I feel like we were talking about this on either last week's call, the call before about the sun and astrology and that when you're in it, you remember that? Yeah, it's like something about the sun and shining when you're operating in that. So that also reminds me of it too. So it's like when you're in the zone, you're in the zone, you're activated, So yeah.
Yeah, what Kyra's talking about is a part of my artist date this week. I saw one of my favorite artists, I saw Don Tolliver. And what's crazy is that it was at the dingiest club that they could find. And they had a whole bunch of people on stage, like a whole bunch of people who were trying to look like they were somebody, but like if you could just look at them and you could just tell the one that's married to Kylie Uchis. Um and I don't think they're married. That's her baby daddy. But yeah, so it was a whole bunch of like people on stage who were just trying to look like somebody. And so when the actual talent showed up on stage, just there's like this energy and this glow emitting from him that could not be like forced or replicated or um just nothing that anybody on all the billions of people who were on stage behind them, there was literally nothing that they could have done because it just seemed like it was something that was emitting from him, in the way that the kids nowadays say aura. Like you can literally like see and like feel his aura. And then Kyra, what you mentioned about Kyra and Ariel, what you mentioned about uh being like confident in your singing and stuff like that. Like I feel like that type of glow also happens when people are just like confident and like centered in their energy. You just arrive differently, so you're not really like people could be throwing energy at you, but you're not really like receptive to it. And if it does hit you, it just rolls off of the body like a duck in the water. Um, so yeah, and I saw your compliment, Ariel, in the chat. Thank you. I think it's I took a nap right before we got on the class. And I don't really take a nap. I don't really take naps. But I took off work to go to the doctor. And yeah, I feel like the glow may be from also just making the choice to take care of myself too, because I was definitely trying to talk myself out of not going to the doctor this morning and stuff. And I feel like that taking the opportunity to go to the doctor was also just an opportunity to show my energetic field and the field of my job, hey, I'm about to take care of myself real quick. Um, so I'm glad that I did that for myself. So thank you. Um, let's get into chapter 9, week 9, because she talks about fear, and I feel like she was calling me out so bad. Um, so she says, blocked artists are not lazy, they are blocked. And I remember listening to this part when I was doing my makeup for the photo shoot yesterday. Being blocked and being lazy are two different things. The block artist typically expends a great deal of energy, just not visibly. The blocked artist spends energy on self-hatred, on regret, on grief, and on jealousy. The blocked artist spends energy on self-doubt. That is so true. That is so true. And I think that also is the difference in the glow of an established artist, like how I was talking about Don Tolliver, versus the nervousness of the up and coming artist. I think after a certain amount of trial, error, and validation, um, you like all of the self doubt and the all that energy, it fizzles out. The blocked artist does not know how to begin with baby steps. Instead, the blocked artist thinks in terms of great, big, scary, impossible tasks. I can definitely relate to that. That's why I'm so glad that I had the mantra yesterday, just show up, just show up, just show up. Because I definitely have a tendency to project so far. Um, yeah, Ariel says in a nervous system perspective, that will be the freeze state. Absolutely. Absolutely. I have the tendency to project so far that I end up doing nothing. She says, do not call the inability to start laziness. Call it fear. It says, fear is the true name for what ails the blocked artist. It may be fear of failure, fear of success. Most frequently, it is fear of abandonment. Okay, here's the part I wanted to get to. This fear has roots in childhood reality. Most blocked artists try to become artists either against their parents' good wishes or their parents' good judgment. For younger artists, this is quite a conflict. To go squarely against your parents' values mean that you know better and you know what you're doing. You'd better not just be an artist, you better be a great artist, like what Lucy was just saying, if you're going to hurt your parents so much. The need to be a great artist makes it hard to be an artist. I'll say that again. The need to be a great artist makes it hard to be an artist. The need to produce great work of art makes it hard to produce any art at all. Oh my gosh, that is so good. That is so good. Lucy says, I've been doing week 9 for the last 2 weeks. Not for real. Uh, the book says, finding it hard to begin a project does not mean you will not be able to follow it. Oh, you will not be able to do it. It means you will need help from your higher power, from supportive friends, from yourself. First of all, you must give yourself permission to begin small and go in baby steps. These steps must be rewarded. Setting impossible goals creates enormous fear, which creates procrastination, which we wrongly call laziness. Do not call procrastination laziness, call it fear. Fear is what blocks an artist, the fear of not being good enough, the fear of not finishing, the fear of failure, and the fear of success, the fear of beginning at all. There is only one cure for fear. That cure is love. What? Use love for your artist to cure its fear. Stop yelling at yourself. Be nice. Call fear by its right name. The cure is love. What does that mean? Okay. What do y'all think that what do y'all think that means? I'm gonna mute whoever.
Come on. All you need is love. All you need. The cure is love. Isn't there, what is that Erica Badu track, or just the fact that there's only two things, love and fear, and you're either operating from love or you're operating from fear. And then the chart, what's that chart? Those two charts we have, the emotion charts, and like love is at the top and fear is at the bottom, I think. Or like, I don't know exactly, but I mean, the cure is love. It is. It's simple. It's like you said, what does that mean? I think it's simple. Use love for your artist to cure his fear. Like it is simple. It's simple. Like it is what it is. It's literally what it is. It's like, well, what's her name? Bell Hooks describes love, or she got this definition of love from this guy's book, and I think it's the the will to, or the it's like the willingness to basically to do whatever is best for you and the other person's spiritual advancement, or like something like that. And essentially, showing up is choosing love instead of fear, because it's like, all right, I'm choosing the elements of love. I'm choosing, like whatever makes up love, which is care, attention, compassion, consideration, et cetera, et cetera. All of the things that make up love and the practice of love, when you decide to just show up, you're choosing those elements instead of choosing like hiding, or running away, or whatever you could fear, and then branch it off, whatever comes from that. Like you're choosing to just, all right, I love myself enough to do this. I love what I'm doing enough to do this, even if it's bad, even if it's like I'm not impressed with it. It's still just the practice of showing up. It's the practice of like being an artist, practice of being a mom, being a lover, being a wife, being a teacher, whatever you're doing, it's just like the practice of that, and choosing to choose love, all, not always, but just when you can, like choosing and decide, hey, you know what? I'll do this. Like stop yelling at yourself, be nice, call fear by its right name. Yeah, it's like be kind to yourself. Yeah, like don't put yourself down and be like you're awful. You're just awful. You're never gonna be a good artist. You think this is good? Like that just even it sounds so harsh. Like, and we wouldn't say that to somebody else. Like, I mean, we might critique it, but we're not gonna be like, you're shitty. You should just stop. Like you wouldn't tell the girl with the Pow 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 song, like, girl, you just don't ever need to make music again. You might think like, ooh but you're not gonna just tell her like you suck. You should just stop doing this. So yeah,
You're
I
talking
mean
about the Peter Piper picked a pepper
Peter
song?
Piper, yeah. But yeah, essentially that's what I think it means. That's what I think it means. It's just like choosing love. And when you choose love, you choose to have patience with yourself or you have
Mm-hmm.
patience with your fear, blah, blah, blah. So I think it's
Mm-hmm.
like that. I think it is simple, even though it feels
Mm-hmm.
fear makes it feel complex.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm gonna mute for Ariel.
Yeah, I'd bounce off exactly what Kyla said and just go into more like nerdy nervous system stuff. I feel like it's reparenting the younger parts of you and I think internal family systems, like whether or not you do it like structurally. Hello. Hi. Uh, whether you like actually follow the structure of internal family systems, but I think that kind of like investigation, which we've done, but like of like how did my younger parts feel? What is the part that's afraid? Why are they afraid? What are they needing now? And the more that we can kind of be with that, then we start to like it starts to help us not be so hard on ourselves, right? To like have more compassion of like, oh yeah, of course she's afraid. Everybody told her never to focus on this or whatever it is. Um, so, and also that reparenting takes some time. Like it's not an overnight thing. I would joke when I like first started kind of retraining my nervous system that it feels like you're actually a parent where it's like sometimes you're like, you're dysregulated again, or like you're shutting down again. Oh my God. And then you have to do it again. You have to be like, it's okay, you're safe. Like you're not in that environment you were in before. This is safe. You don't have to be afraid of these things. No one's gonna bully you or whatever it is. So that's what I will say. And like I said in the prompt, I thought also just like all of the exercises around like what you were drawn to have been really interesting. And I think it's something I'd be interested in hearing more from other people too, of like what people were drawn to. Because I think for me, what I'm seeing is I do feel like even though no one in my life would have reflected it to me, because they were in their own worlds. I do feel like I had a really good imagination. And again, like I think I didn't even like think of anything of it, but I remember my like biggest claims of fame. I have to show you guys. I have a sticker of it because I had a joke with someone about but like I have a sticker of in my ceramics class in high school. We had to do like an art class to graduate. So I did a ceramics class and I made these salt and pepper shakers and they're like sumo wrestler salt and pepper shakers. And my things would get in the case a lot, but I think it's honestly because they were like very unique. They were just like just like off the wall, whatever came to my mind. I would just make it like I'll send you guys the stickers. And then like in elementary school, we had like creative writing and I wrote this like action stories of like flying squirrels. And then like everybody in class copied me. So yeah, just those things are like interesting too. But then again, like when we get to see these parts of ourselves, we can be like, look, this is who you are, this is what I want to support, like blossoming into more. So yeah.
Cool. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for helping me unpack that because sometimes I feel like when people be like, all you need is love. Like it just feels like a cop out. Um, but I've been lately just like looking for ways to replace love with a word that resonates more with me because I know that love is uh like the foundation of everything. Um, but I think lately or recently I've replaced love with presence. Um, like being able to just be fully present in a moment, rather than just say love has been helpful for me. So like instead of just being like, oh, I'm gonna love this person, like saying, oh, I'm gonna be fully present with this person has been doing a lot for me. Okay, I'm gonna mute for Lucy.
I really like the thing of like looking at what you were drawn to as a child, and it's really funny that everyone copied you. It was like kind of funny. Um, yeah, like I feel like I'm doing a lot of kind of like I don't know the word for it, just like looking at my past, looking at my childhood. I'm going through a lot of like validating myself as like how I actually am. I've noticed come up a lot in NEMS recently, judging myself for like liking talking. And it's like I usually wouldn't judge that, but then in comparison, sometimes to like maybe how shy everyone else is, I'm like, oh my God, is it like a problem that I like to speak and that I don't like I actually kind of enjoy speaking? Ariel, actually, I will share with you. Like, I had a small like worry that my last like voice message to you was like too long, and I absolutely loved it that you went even longer than I did. And I was like, you know what? This is like, this is good. Like, this is somebody who also likes to talk, so like, it's fine. So I've been kind of going through a lot of like my childhood stuff and like kind of like riffling through the files of like my essence and kind of do I think it's called resource history. I don't know if that's the word like Mariam uses, but it kind of feels like that might be the word to use. And like doing some resource history where like I'm looking at these like essences of myself, looking at how it was interacted with, and then really doing some like energy clearings and healings like on those versions of myself that like went through different things because I do think I was a little bit of like an oddball and I've had like a lot of weird little traumatic experiences that I've like collected from how it's been interacted with and a lot of like just slowly over time going into like comparison and looking at the different it's very soul retrieval season. Yeah, so when I was a kid, and this is something that's kind of fresh up today as well of like realizing so I think it was last week's exercise is like in a perfect world, like what's like your secret thing that like you really want to be? And I was like, oh my God, like it took a while for me to get there, but I realized it's like, oh, I really like teaching. And when I was a kid, I would like play pretend with my toys and like have lots of like stuffies, and I would be like, like I'd be like, let's do class, and like kind of like fake school. Um, and I really enjoyed that. And I also had like dreams of being a rapper as well. I don't like who am I, right? But and especially because I was like a white, like 7-year-old girl. So I had these dreams of like being a rapper. Um, and also too, like painting was a big one, writing was a big one. I kind of the reason why I like the story of everyone copying you because it's like I kind of had like a little like something similar to that where like I wrote this story and then like the teacher was like, "Oh my God, I have to read this in front of everybody." And then everybody after class was like coming up to me like, "Oh my God, that was so cool." And I was like, "Oh my God." But yeah, I don't know. I really like painting. I've noticed painting is coming like back for like another round. Like doodles. I really like I'm gonna have to send them in the WhatsApp group because I think you guys will kind of like them, or maybe it'll make you smile or you'll find it funny. But I used to really love doing like silly cartoons of like um it would be like, oh, this is what your spirit guides are doing when you're in the middle of a life crisis. And they'll be like shaking like their dump truck ass like in front of a mirror and like singing or something. I don't know. It'll just be like really silly stuff. And I have like images of like, I don't know, just like little cartoon comics of like what it's like to heal your inner child. And then like but then when it comes to your inner teenager, they're like, fuck you. Um, and yeah, I feel like I'm, I realize, I think, I don't know if it was today, but I kind of realized like, oh, I feel like the artist way is working because I'm starting to circle back to things that like, I used to really, really enjoy, and I just really like. Um, I think just like I think I've like shared with you guys like a little bit of my background, but like I kind of like I was a content creator for a long time, for 8 years, and I I was like a live streamer. I was like a psychic live streamer person, um and like I dabbled in all the different things, like, and it was so fun, and it was like I got paid. It felt like I was always being paid to do it, but then it was always like I don't know, like there was a lot of wounds that I hadn't healed. And it's like sometimes like when I think about beginning again, like I don't really feel like a beginner because I've already had some level of experience with it. And in fact, like I think sometimes even more like afraid because I feel like I have like an old audience that are like waiting for me to come back, or that have their like expectations and feelings. Like I know I have there are people I can name that like I know don't want me to do well, and things like that. And it's like feedback that I've really like taken into my field, whether it was like valid or not. And I really, yeah, I kind of had this moment of like, oh, it feels like the artist way is working, because now I feel like I'm actually like coming back to the things I really like. And I don't know how to explain it other than like sometimes it's felt very like corded. Like all the stuff that I really like has been very like corded or like restricted by this gunk of my previous life. Um, and now I feel like, I haven't made brand new social media accounts, so maybe I should. But like I've kind of feel like I've like started a new life. Like I literally moved to a different continent. I like made a whole new like Discord account, which is like where I used to live my life on. Um and yeah, and now I don't have like an audience anymore. Like so I quit that like 2 years ago. I quit live streaming. I really feel like I'm like starting to like actually hit a reset now, so I can actually like go back out. But yeah, I really liked the questions of like what were you drawn to as a kid, and realizing like, oh, like that's actually where my essence is at. And yeah, maybe I've picked up a lot of noise like along the way as I've like grown up, and now I feel like I'm like doing what's necessary, like really taking care of myself to like clear out that noise that might have accumulated that's like getting in the way of stuff. But yeah, okay, thank you.
Oh my gosh. There was so much there, even though I got interrupted. Um, but what I did hear, I heard the part about no, don't apologize. What I did hear, I heard the part about talking too much in NEMS. Man, I totally feel that. Like I'm so happy that first of all, I want to say I think Lucy, just keep doing what you're doing, because I think when people see you, it gives them a permission slip to be able to talk more in NEMS. Um so yeah, keep doing that. And also I know Miriam has been mentioning that she too has been like feeling just so serious. And I feel like that may be kind of like emanating throughout, our community or whatever. But I'm just so glad that like you're naming that, and Miriam is naming that and all that stuff. But I just think that I'm actually just really grateful for you because um yeah, just like how you show up is exactly how I want to show up. So like yeah, keep doing that. And another thing that you mentioned, oh, dang, I forgot. But yeah.
I really appreciate you saying that. Thank you. That's so
Yeah.
kind of you to say. Thank you.
Yes, yeah. I'm like, yeah, because I feel like you've popped into the community like how long has it been? Like 3 years?
So I was like a playback watcher for like 6 years, and then
Mhm.
I feel like I've only really been in for like the last two. Like, and I think it's
Okay.
like one and maybe like a year and 8 months. I've actually been like showing up to like class and like unmuting and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, I just feel like since day one, like your just energy and your presence in them has always been just so refreshing because it is uh it is a different flavor from like what we're used to, and I feel like it's gonna draw more people that are like that.
You know
Because a
what's
lot of
funny? Yeah, you saying that is like so, because I feel like this is the thing I've been like healing on and like working on and stuff is like is that. And I like sat down and did a healing with it with my guides, and my guides were like, okay, so Mariam wanted to grow her thing more anyway, and she has called in like people that could talk more so that things can get flowing. And I was like, oh, so like, and we were talking about it. I think it's like in Divine Blueprints. It's just like God
Mhm.
made you and wanted like your specific energy. And my guides were just kind of reassuring me that like, because like I have gotten in my heads about like, oh, do I belong in NEMS? Like, I like talk so much. And everyone's so quiet. And like, am I? But yeah, when I kind of let the healing into that, it was like, no, like this is good. Like this helps people and it helps like energy like move. I was like, oh, so I really
Yeah.
appreciate hearing that from you. So thank you.
Yes, yes, girl. I'm gonna mute for Grishby.
Hey, such a great share, Lucy. Just really quick, what I wanted to add in. I love people like Lucy. It reminds me of this specific girl named Stacia Fox. She always knew the answer. And like in class, everybody is quiet. And it's just like, you're not mad, you're not upset, you're not tripping, you just like, like somebody asks a question and it gets to the point where everybody's just turning around looking, uh, why you quiet, Stacia? Like, hey, don't you have the answer? So it's kind of like that. So I think it's really good that you're always like vocal. Don't necessarily know what goes on in your head about it, but I think it's such a beautiful thing to, even if it's not an answer, perhaps, like, it's like a question is not being posed, but the fact that you always have something to voice, I think that's such a healthy thing to, I think that's such a healthy way to show up in any kind of space. Because you're like seemingly, you're probably the type of person you can see someone on the street and they're kind of like a little frazzled trying to find directions. You may be the one to speak up, like, hey, what are you trying to get to? And you're able to just articulate, just really easy and things, stuff like that. So, point is, this girl in school, her name was Stacia Fox, and you sharing often and actually having like substance to your answers reminds me of her, because it always like let me know like, okay, cool, it is cool to say what you got to say. And then also on the other end, Stacia Fox, she knew most of the answers, but if she didn't know, she also was that student that rose her hand to gather the proper information that she needs so she could be educated and enlightened. So that's my share.
Thank you, Mr. G. Yes. Yeah, that was all so good. Another thing I heard is the highly sensitive extrovert. Yeah, I can relate to that too. I can relate to that too. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like that this may be a separate conversation because like we really are in NIMS and we experience it. But I can totally relate to that just in general. Like I also feel like we especially like the younger kids, like they just think it's so cool just to like be unbothered or like barely move their mouth or whatever and stuff like that. But um I just don't think that they realize that like um like being being receptive and like being on and all that stuff, like it's just like a particular battery that just like gets things going. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Like just numbed out. It's Kyra says it's Inui. What is that?
That's this emotion that I learned about on Inside Out too. It's so like, yeah, whatever. He's just like,
Ah,
yeah, you remember it's like, yeah, oh, sorry, she. She was
yes.
just so like, whatever.
Yes.
Oh, hi. You,
Yeah.
you like my shoes? Oh, okay. That's the kids nowadays. So
That
like,
is really them.
whatever.
That is really them nowadays, and that's also just like being a teenager, or like being in your 20s. Um, before we close out, I wanted to read page 153. I really wish that I had a clip from the Creative Act, like how I did last time, but I'm not gonna force it. Um, but on page 153 of The Artist's Way, she talks about enthusiasm. And this is what I was actually trying to say earlier when I was talking about discipline. Uh, Julia talks about how people think that it's all that in a bag of chips to have discipline, when really the thing that you need to have is enthusiasm. So on page 153, it must take so much discipline to be an artist. We are often told by well meaning people who are not artists but wish they were. What a temptation! What a seduction! They're inviting us to preen before an admiring audience, to act out the image that is so heroic and Spartan and false. As artists, grounding our self image in military discipline is dangerous. In the short run, discipline may work, but it will only work for a while. By its very nature, discipline is rooted in self admiration. Think of discipline as a battery, useful but short lived. We admire ourselves for being so wonderful. The discipline itself, not the creative outflow, becomes the point. Ooh, that part of us that creates best is not a driven, disciplined automation functioning from willpower with a booster of pride to back it up. This is operating out of self will. You know the image, rising at dawn with military precision, saluting at the desk, the easel, the drawing board. Over an ex- over any extended period of time, being an artist requires enthusiasm more than discipline. Enthusiasm is not an emotional state. It is a spiritual commitment, a loving surrender to our creative process, a loving recognition of all of the creativity around us. Enthusiasm, from the Greek word filled with God, is an ongoing energy supply tapped into the flow of life itself. Enthusiasm is grounded in play, not work. Far from being a brain-numbed soldier, our artist is actually our child within, our inner playmate. As with all playmates, it is joy, not duty, that makes for a lasting bond. She says, true, our artists may rise at dawn to greet the typewriter or easel in the morning stillness, but this event has more to do with a child's love of secret adventure than with ironclad discipline. Okay, our artist child can be enticed to work. Okay, so this part speaks to me because I've been wanting, since joining etheric gardening, I've been wanting to have so much discipline in just like doing like the spiritual practices. And I've reached Temple Etiquette Code 2 and EG2, and Miriam talks about just having your house in order to uh, make the temple not only just make the temple just like an ongoing thing. And um, so I realized that even since entering Etheric Gardening 1, I haven't had the discipline that I've wanted. And discipline for me would look like praying 3 times a day, doing my energy work, like 3 times a day, eating right, just all these things that just sound good on paper, but actually end up being hard to do. Um, so I'm gonna take this advice from this chapter because I feel like the ether gardening in the artist way, like they do this dance because I feel like the artist way is about soul retrieval. Um, I'm gonna mute for Ariel.
I just want to say, don't feel any pressure to keep up with EG2 because literally no one can keep up. Because the energy transmission, especially two, are insane. So I just want to say, at least like be easy on yourself. But I want to say also with like, I think to her point, how I feel, like for example, with energy work, I remember there was a period of time some years ago that I was really inconsistent with energy work. Um, and I mean it's also like what they say in a somatic perspective. The main thing is to figure out how to just like rewire. So basically, like in a somatic perspective, they talk about like, okay, they might there might be like the prompt of like, notice how you feel now. You know, when I lead energy work, I say that a lot. Notice how you feel now. Because that helps like the rewiring of like, oh yeah, I did this thing and now I feel better. You know, and then after a while, you don't even have to make yourself do it because it's just like, oh yeah, just feel so much better, you know? And I feel like that's what happened to me with energy work, that now like I don't have to try at all to do like extended energy work every day because I'm like, I feel so much better after, you know? And I can also feel how it feels before I do it of like I feel everybody else's energy. It feels like there's a lot I haven't processed all of that. And I feel like Lucy and I were talking about that too, of just like even with your creative practice, like trying to just keep tuning in to like the somatic sensations of like, oh, this felt so good, you know? And then as you keep like noting that and kind of like creating that kind of like reward system in your brain, it gets easier and easier to just like do it, you know? So.
Gosh. Oh my gosh, yes, I love that. I'm so glad that I have an etheric gardening mentor in the Artist Way book club. Because yes, I feel like these two containers go hand in hand. But that is so, you're so right about that. Like, I feel like my energy work practice really started picking up after I did my first EG session with Callie. She did a practice session with me, and that was like the first time I was able to really sit down and do some energy work. Normally, I'm always like doing a million things at once. And it was how I felt afterwards that was like, oh, I want to keep doing this. So thank you for that. So I will continue to follow that compass.
And I'll just say last note of also, like we said earlier, it's like also just paying attention to the associations, you know? So I try to like have that a little bit of balance of like, if I'm gonna like really push myself to do it and I'm gonna feel bad after, then that's gonna create a negative association, you know? So it's like if I push myself to sing, but I'm like exhausted and really need to sleep, like,
Hmm.
and I'm sick or something, like that's creating like a negative association. So just being aware of that. And then also there can be things that can
Hmm.
help create the positive association, which might be like, okay, before a creative practice, I'm gonna like set my space and put on like for you, Tiana, like put on scents and whatever, like incense and then that again like creates the positive association, like, oh, this felt really good. We're all like it's like mouse experiments. We're all like our brains are like mice of like they just like the more you just create the positive association, then it gets really easy. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it's so funny how simple it is, but it's just like our spirit complicates things. It's more fun for things to be difficult. It's just so crazy. Okay, I'm gonna mute for Lucy.
Yeah, I there's this book called Atomic Habits. I almost like want to say like don't even bother reading it. I'll just tell you the one thing that was useful. No, but this is a really useful thing that I got out of it as somebody who I think used to do like a million things and really struggles to take like meaningful time, like set out really meaningful time for myself. So there's this thing that I learned in Atomic Habits where it's like you join a thing that you want to do onto something you're already doing that's already part of like your routine and habit. So my energy clearing stuff. So one, I've made some like quick to go things that help with maybe how I run my life. So I have like energy clearing sprays. I have energy protection sprays and things like that. And I have those like all by the side of my bed. So I do like a before I go to bed, I'll like do my energy clearing sprays. And I kind of like have like set up like my bedtime routine and like in Atomic Habits, you talk about it's like, okay, well, part of your routine is going to bed. So if you like link up other habits that you'd like to be around that one habit that you know you're always going to do, then like it makes it a lot easier to keep it in the habit. So like my bedtime routine has kind of become a lot about like yeah when I brush my teeth as well. I'll even start even if I'm a bit more busy or like super tired to do like deeper energy work. I'll use the process of like brushing my teeth and like washing my face as like an intentional energy clearing practice. And I'll even whilst I'm brushing my teeth, I'll be having the telepathic conversation with Mother Earth, like updating her about my day and then like as calling up the grounding cord as I'm doing those things. Sometimes I do it even when I'm sat on the toilet and I'm like, is this weird? But I'm like, sorry. But yeah, no, I'm just like, it's just like a little bit of like multitasking, like a little. And then as well, like when I'm like lay in bed and I'm kind of like really unwinding, then I'll kind of do like a quick yeah, two birds with one bird exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'll do like a bit of energy work before bed. I won't do my intensive stuff before bed, but I'll do like a little prayer, just the basics of ground and cord, release energy. And if I'm lucky and not too tired, I'll do the two energies of like heaven and earth and like a and the call back your energy. Like those are like just a really good foundations that I try and get in before I sleep. And the same when I wake up as well. If I can't manage much when I wake up, I'll at least do the grounding cord and calling my energy back from my dreams and like calling my energy back from like all the places I've just been whilst I've been dreaming. Um, those would be really helpful to me. Yeah, just like having these like basic things I'm already doing that's already part of my like routines and habits. And when I want to add like new things on, I like rather than trying to create a whole new thing, I add it on to an already existing sequence. And that's really like helpful for me. And just like little things of like if you know you're on the go like adding things in that support you. So things like sprays. I think I put in a grounding spray in like your box that I've like made you. So yeah, I feel like I already felt a nod on that one of like, oh yeah, I think because you already like fragrances and it's like, oh, it's just fragrances with like essential oils and flower essences that have the intention of like a certain thing. So yeah, it helps with energy support. So yeah, that's my share. Atomic Habits is good. You maybe you could read it, but I just like felt like I didn't want to say that. And then you're like, oh, I need to read the book. It's like, oh, you can just add it onto a sequence of what you're already
Uh,
doing.
oh no, girl, I got a whole crush on James Clear. He is so hot to me. I think what makes him hot is just the fact that he's like so like on the like he's so on point about like his knowledge. Yes. And I have the book. I have the book. I bought the book from somebody on Facebook Marketplace. I got such a good deal. I got yeah, he's kind of handsome. He's kind of handsome. But it's just like also like his brain makes him super hot. I got a good deal. I think The Creative Act, 48 Laws of Power, and Atomic Habits, uh, all in like one bundle. Ariel says I should DM him. Girl, I think he's married. I think he's married, but I'm totally on that time. I'm totally on that time. Yeah. But but the my other crush, my other productivity crush that I have is Dan Cole, y'all. Like he's it's just like whenever he just talks about like being productive and starting your one person business, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is daddy as fuck. Like I think he has I think he has a girlfriend too. But yeah, thank you, Lucy. I love that book. Um and then also I love how in Atomic Habits, like he just explains it so good. Like his name is Dan Coe, Koe. But what I love about Atomic Habits is that it's so digestible. Like the book is so digestible. It's not, I tried to read Deep Work by Cal Newport, and I'm like, boy, just get to the point. Like you over here talking about all these people that it's worked for. I know it works. So let's talk about how we're gonna do it. But yeah, thank y'all for sharing. Um, I feel pretty complete. Um, yeah. So this week with week 9, yes, I would love to talk about our crushes. I have some good crushes and some bad crushes. So this week she says read the morning pages, read your morning pages. I remember not doing that last time, but I'm definitely gonna do that this time. Um, Also, when we were talking about remembering what you liked as a child, there are some tasks in week 8 where she lists some things. She says early patternings and exercise. As a kid, my dad thought my art was this. I remember one time when he did this. Honestly, this sounds like a guided meditation. And so I was thinking about doing it in that way, instead of like writing it down, but just finding a way to just like maybe listen to the audiobook and have her go down the list and just see what like comes up in my brain, and then also like just doing energy work to clear it out. Um Yeah, because it starts off, my dad thought my art was this. My mom taught me that daydreaming was this. The person who believed in me. So, yeah, it feels like a guided meditation. So I would invite you guys to do that as well. Page 144. If you have the audiobook, go to week 8, early patternings, and do the practice as a guided meditation. And then for week 9, the tasks that we have are to read the morning pages. Uh, and when you read your morning pages, check stock of what you've been complaining about. Take heart of an alarming tendency towards black and white thinking, and acknowledge. It says the pages have allowed us to vent without self-destruction. Give them credit for the changes and growth they have fostered. All right. Next step is visualizing. You have already done work with naming your goal and identifying true north. The following exercise asks you to fully imagine having your goal accomplished. Well, I like that one. Because I feel like that's something that I need to practice. Number 3 is priorities. List for yourself your creative goals for the year. List yourself your creative goals for the month, and list yourself for your creative goals for the week. I love that practice. That's actually a practice that I learned from Dan Coe as well. Speaking of, um, it really helps you to just put things into perspective. Um, and then number 4 is creative U-turns. So you guys can read into that to learn more about what that is. And then after that is week 10, recovering a sense of self-protection. Okay, does anybody want to share before we close out?
And moving
Thank
into month 3.
Oh my gosh. It's been so long. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. And I feel like Lucy too. Like I'm definitely one thing I'm gonna focus on as the artist way closes out. I'm gonna focus on artist dates. Like I'm really gonna start focusing on guarding them, prioritizing them, and just really being intentional about like, okay, Monday I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna do this. And nobody is going to um, you know, like I'm really gonna be like really intentional about artist dates. Like I go out and I do activities a lot, but I want to just put more intention into my artist dates. So yeah, thank y'all. This was fun as usual. Um, Kyra, can I call you for the pictures? Can we go on FaceTime for the pictures?
Mm-hmm.
Okay
We
then.
I was gonna look at Grishri's pictures because
Hmm.
they're quicker, and then we can look
Okay.
at yours.
Okay then.
Okay.
And Ariel says send pics from artist dates. Yes. Everybody post pictures of what y'all got going on in the group chat.
I
And
want these sumo shakers.
I
They're
know
just so funny and cute. Like,
look the
look at
boobies on
them.
them.
Oh, damn. I can't every time, but like, look at them.
You gotta
Like,
hold it in front of your face.
oh,
Yeah.
look at them. They're so cute. I want these guys. Look at them.
Yeah. It's the boobies for
It's
me.
the boobs and the bun and the panty. Like, I need these salt shakers. Just like having them at the house is just a conversation starter. It's like, what are these? And then you're like, oh, they're just my salt and pepper shakers. Like, I need these guys. They're so cute. Like,
Mhm.
this is honestly, these could be in a shop or something. Like, they're funny. That is so original. Sumo salt shakers, that's funny. Good stuff. And I always liked when sumo wrestlers did like, whoo, whoo, and they spread their legs. Like, I think you need, like, I want these.
Speaking
My
of,
17-year-old self.
oh,
I want
So
these. They
recreate
so
them.
cute.
and speaking of sumo wrestler, like I feel like we're losing recipes still. Like I don't think they
Where are
put
the
sumo
sumo wrestlers?
right.
I haven't heard nobody talk about want to be a sumo. It's all of this, be healthy, this. Who's gonna be the sumo wrestler?
We're losing recipes out here day by
Wow.
day.
I'm about to look up sumo wrestling. 1 year ago, we got some sumo wrestling. Look at them. Hold on. Here they go. Look,
Okay.
it's still happening. Look at them
Oh,
tussling.
wow. Yeah, you just don't see it in movies and
I
cartoons
need to
anymore.
understand because I don't know why they have to wear the bottom with the thong adjacent bottom. Like, I don't know why they have to do that.
Yeah,
What is it? Why do they do that? Like, I don't know. I need to figure it out. I need to figure out the reason behind the costume or
right.
the
Because their
gear.
butt is all the way
I
out.
mean, like, look at it. It's just straight.
Like,
Like, I don't know. I never knew why. And they're comfortable. They just like whatever
yeah,
about it.
they just out there.
Honestly, this is funny. It'd be funny to be a sumo wrestler for Halloween. Like get one of them suits that you put air in.
Yeah,
Be
like nobody does that
a
anymore.
slutty sumo wrestler with
And
that
Oh
just
my
thong
goodness.
part.
that's some
Oh,
OnlyFans type stuff right there. Like, oh,
oh
I'm a
my God.
sumo wrestler for Halloween, and they just wear the
And it just
the
be a thong and
and it just
some
in a big
chopsticks.
band and some chopsticks. Yeah. And then they probably would love it if it was two gals and then they were fighting and stuff. Oh my gosh, big money. Big money. There, look how flexible he is. Wait, look. Do y'all see that? His whole leg is up.
You gotta post it in the chat.
Oh wow, look at him. You see
I did
that?
not expect this call to go in this direction.
What? I mean, he's extended.
Oh yeah, I saw that. He is flexible.
Okay. Hmm.
Right.
You're finding
Oh.
a type. You're a new
Mm.
type.
I think I like sumo wrestlers now. This is my crush, the sumo wrestlers.
Oh my
Everybody
God.
got a name off a crush before we get off.
I already named my crushes, y'all.
So my new crush is the flexible sumo wrestler with the blue G-string.
Not the picture you posted.
That's
Oh
so
my God, look at his butt.
uh he's extended. Like I really like that. Like and he's balanced. Like he's on it. He's holding that position.
I'm also gonna post a video from Danco in the chat, y'all. All right, y'all. Well, thank you all, and I'll see y'all in the chat. Bye.
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 Bye.